My name is Laci, and this is my story. After graduating high school, I started Grayson County College. Drugs, sex, partying, and rebellion consumed my life, and then I found out I was pregnant. It hit me hard. I was pregnant. That's when I became a client of the Pregnancy Care Center, and I got my first sonogram to confirm that I was pregnant. I grew up in church, so I didn't believe in abortion. I knew my life had to change. The drugs, the parties, and the boyfriend. It all had to change. Quitting the drugs and the partying, that was easy. But losing my boyfriend, well, that was hard. That got me thinking about the baby I was bringing into this mess. I thought to myself that a child deserved better than us. So I decided the best thing was adoption. I really checked into it and even found adoptive parents. Then I talked to my attorney and realized an adoption wasn't possible. I did so much thinking. I wanted a better life for my baby. To the abortion clinic. An abortion because I was raised in church. I was so very pro-life. I even had nightmares about it. I had pushed myself away from everyone. And then I began to see my baby as a piece of tissue, convincing myself that I had no other choice but an abortion. I decided abortion was the only way out of this situation. I just needed one thing, money. So I went to my mom and dad.
I couldn't believe that my daughter, who had always been pro-life, was about to have an abortion. I was devastated. It was something I never thought I'd face with my child. I was trained at the Pregnancy Care Center to be an advocate for children going through what Laci was going through, but I couldn't deal with it with my own daughter. I needed help. I needed the Pregnancy Care Center. There's women there that are prayer warriors, and I knew if I called that they'd be there for me.
My parents cried because they were so disappointed in me. They pulled out all the stops. My dad knows scripture. My mom was trained at the Pregnancy Care Center, so she knew just what to say to me. They wasn't getting through my stubborn head. After hours of arguing, they decided to set all their beliefs aside, to support me because of their love for me. I got drunk that night. I think I got drunk because I knew in my heart that abortion was so wrong. I scheduled the abortion for the next day, 2 days before Christmas. I understand now why girls who have abortions turn to drugs and alcohol so easily. It's the guilt. Later I learned, while I was partying, my parents were praying the entire time. I asked my mom and dad to take me to the abortion clinic the next morning.
We didn't know what to do about taking Laci to an abortion clinic. We prayed, and we just didn't know what to do. We couldn't face. We had told her we'd support her, but it was just overwhelming. We turned on the TV just to do something different, to try to think about something else. And Bill O'Reilly had an episode on that night with Abby Johnson. She was the former director of the Planned Parenthood clinic in Bryan, Texas. She had walked out of that clinic after watching a guided abortion on a 12-week fetus. She said she saw the fetus fighting for its life and lost its battle. And I had calculated Laci's pregnancy to be right at 12 weeks. This was an answered prayer. We knew then that we could not take Laci to that clinic, and we could not support this decision.
Since my parents wouldn't take me, my brother drove me to the abortion clinic. I walked through all the pro-lifers to get to the clinic. They were so kind, not at all like what you see on TV. I felt so ashamed. I walked in and paid for the abortion. All the other girls that were there for abortions assured me that it was no big deal and that I would be taken very well care of. One girl was even telling me that she had already had 5.
Back here at the center, I got the call that morning from Carrie Carr, one of our counseling volunteers, and she told me that Laci's brother had taken Laci to the abortion clinic. Carrie had been in communication with Laci's mom through this whole thing. Being around the Christmas holidays, it was kind of a quiet day here at the center. And so I was able to talk to our staff and the volunteers and tell them what was happening. We were all just so down. I don't know what was different. about this time, but it definitely was. And so we got together and we were just talking, and I just had this strong, sudden feeling. And I just said, God can do anything. He can even take Laci right off that abortion table. And so we decided we would ask God to do just that. And so we gathered together in a circle and we held hands and we just stormed the gates of heaven. We just prayed and prayed for Laci and her unborn baby. And after our prayer, I just felt a peace. And we just waited on God.
They needed to do an ultrasound just to see how far along I was. As I laid there on the table, I didn't want to look at the screen and see my baby. I didn't want to think that it was the baby. The nurse whispered something about it being a girl and being 12 weeks. For the first time, I thought to myself that I had a daughter, not just a thing, a clump of skin, tissue. She was my daughter. I got up off the table and said I had to go to the bathroom, but really, I headed for the exit. My brother, who was waiting in the waiting room the whole time, saw me as soon as I opened the door and came running to me and hugged me. He started crying, and he knew that I couldn't go through with it. As we walked through the door, all the pro-lifers met us at the door, jumping up and down and so excited, and even one of them told me that they knew that I couldn't do it. One even gave me pink rosemary beads. I never understood why she gave me pink or why she thought to give me pink. How did she know I was going to have a girl? Why didn't she give me blue ones? She said to me that God has a plan for my daughter. She wasn't just going to be an ordinary kid. She gave me a card with her name and number on it. At the top of the card it said Pregnancy Care Center. She told me at any point in time if I needed anything just to talk, to relieve stress, or anything, just to give her a call. And throughout my pregnancy, she was a lot of my support. My daughter's life was saved that day, December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. But what to do with her, to keep her, to have an adoption, it still all overwhelmed me. I still wasn't ready to be a mom. 12 weeks later, I had another sonogram. I was 24 weeks. And on that sonogram, my daughter was sucking her left pinky. This is something I have a habit of doing when I get very nervous. And for once, I kind of disconnected her to myself. She was doing something that I do daily, only inside of me. At that point, I knew that there was no other way. I knew I wasn't going to have an abortion or an adoption. I knew I was going to be a mom.
All the prayers, God answered them all. The power of prayer is amazing. And those ultrasounds are amazing. They literally save babies. I don't know what God has in store for Laci or for Madison, but I know it's greatness.
This is my daughter, Madison. She's beautiful and amazing and the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Last month, I married my best friend, Tyler. He's amazing. Between the both of us, we have 3 adorable children. We both have jobs, and we work hard. We are blessed enough not to need assistance. We take care of our children. It's not easy, and it's definitely not like it shows on MTV, but it is crazy, wonderful, and a very blessed life. I've decided to go back to school in January. I'm going to be an ultrasound tech. I hope that one day, some girl that thinks she has no other choice will see her baby sucking on its little pinky. Being a mom wasn't my plan, but I am a mom, and I thank God it was His plan. Madison and I just want to thank all of the donors, volunteers, board members, and staff at the Pregnancy Care Center for all of your support and your prayers. The pro-life cause is a great one, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.